You wake up every single day believing that kindness will protect you. That if you remain humble, gentle, and accommodating, the world will reward your softness with respect. You think that by shrinking yourself, by making yourself smaller, by putting everyone else's needs before your own, you're demonstrating virtue. But here's what no one has the courage to tell you: the world doesn't respect what it can easily step on. And right now, whether you realize it or not, you're lying flat on the ground, face down, while everyone around you is treating you like a doormat. They wipe their feet on your dignity every single day, and you smile through it because you've been taught that this is what good people do. You've confused self-respect with arrogance. You've mistaken boundaries for cruelty. And in that confusion, you've handed over the keys to your own psychological destruction. Machiavelli understood something about human nature that most people spend their entire lives refusing to accept. He saw through the pleasant lies we tell ourselves about morality and virtue, and he exposed a brutal truth that society has been trying to bury ever since. People do not respect you because you're good. They respect you because you demand it. They respect you because something in your presence, in your energy, in the way you carry yourself, tells them that disrespecting you will cost them something. Machiavelli wrote that it is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. And while that might sound harsh, what he was really saying is this: respect is not given freely. It is negotiated. It is earned through the projection of value, strength, and consequence. And if you enter that negotiation already on your knees, begging for scraps of acknowledgement, you've already lost before the game even begins. Look at your life right now. Really look at it. How many times this week did someone interrupt you mid-sentence? How many times did someone cancel plans with you last minute, knowing you'd just absorb it without protest? How many times did someone ask you for a favor, knowing full well they would never return it, and you said yes anyway, because saying no felt too uncomfortable? Each time you allowed that to happen, you taught them something. You taught them that your time has no value. You taught them that your voice can be silenced. You taught them that your presence is optional. And they learned. They learned so well that now they don't even think twice before treating you like background noise in their own story. This is not their fault. This is yours, because you set the price, and you set it at 0. The ancient Stoics had a principle that sounds simple but cuts deep. You cannot control what others do, but you control how you respond. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, wrote in his private journals that the opinion of others should mean nothing if you know who you are. But here's where most people get it twisted. They think this means you should ignore how people treat you and just remain internally strong. That's not what it means. What it means is that you must define your own value so clearly, so unshakably, that when someone tries to treat you as less, the dissonance is so loud, so uncomfortable, that they'd either correct themselves or remove themselves from your presence. Your self-respect is not a passive state of mind. It's an active force field. And if you're not maintaining it, if you're not reinforcing it daily, it collapses. And once it collapses, you become invisible. There's a psychological concept called the Benjamin Franklin effect, and it reveals something disturbing about how humans assign value. When someone does you a favor, they don't think more of you, they think less of you. They categorize you as someone who needs help, someone beneath them, someone they can afford to be generous toward. But when you do someone a favor, especially when you frame it as something valuable, they respect you more. They see you as capable, as someone with resources to spare. The implication is clear. If you're always the one asking, always the one receiving, always the one in the position of need, you are programming the people around you to see you as weak, and weakness, in the social hierarchy of human interaction, is punished mercilessly. Not always with overt cruelty, often with something worse: indifference. Machiavelli observed the courts of Renaissance Italy, places where power shifted like sand, where today's advisor could be tomorrow's corpse. He watched men who tried to win favor through submission, through loyalty without leverage, through devotion without boundaries. And he watched them get discarded the moment they were no longer useful. Because that's the thing about being agreeable, you become furniture. Comfortable, reliable, forgettable. And furniture doesn't get a seat at the table. It gets used and replaced. So he concluded that a wise person must cultivate what he called not virtue in the moral sense, but effectiveness, the ability to command respect, the capacity to inspire both admiration and caution. Because in a world where everyone is looking out for their own interests, the person who pretends they have no interests becomes everyone else's servant. Now here's the twist that makes this even more dangerous. You probably think you're being selfless. You probably believe that your inability to set boundaries, your refusal to demand better treatment, your tolerance for disrespect is evidence of your maturity, your compassion, your spiritual evolution. You wear your passivity like a badge of honor. But let me ask you this: if someone you loved, if someone you truly cared about, was being treated the way you allow yourself to be treated, would you stand by and watch? Or would you step in and defend them? Of course you would defend them, because you value them. So why don't you defend yourself? Why is your own dignity the one thing you're willing to negotiate? The answer is uncomfortable. You don't actually respect yourself. You've been so conditioned to seek external validation, to measure your worth by how much others approve of you, that you've outsourced your self-worth entirely. And once you've done that, you're finished. Because the crowd is fickle. The crowd will love you one moment and forget you the next. And if you've built your identity on their approval, you'll spend your entire life chasing ghosts. But there is a deeper, more dangerous truth we haven't touched yet, and it's the one that will make or break everything. Respect is not just about how others see you. It's about how you see yourself in relation to the world. And if you don't establish that relationship on your terms, it will be established on someone else's. Think about the people you admire, the ones who seem to glide through life with a quiet authority. They're not louder than you. They're not smarter than you. They're not even necessarily kinder than you. But they have something you lack. They have a line, a boundary, a threshold. And when someone crosses it, there are consequences. Not dramatic consequences. Not childish tantrums. Just a calm, consistent enforcement of their standards. And over time, people learn. They learn that this person values themselves. They learn that this person's time, attention, and energy are finite resources. And because humans are fundamentally economic creatures, always calculating cost and benefit, they adjust their behavior accordingly. They start showing up on time. They start keeping their word. They start treating that person with the care and consideration they demand. Not because they're afraid, but because the framework has been established. The terms have been set, and everyone knows their role. You, on the other hand, have set no terms. You've established no framework. You operate in a fog of vague hope that people will just magically treat you well if you treat them well first. And maybe some will, but most won't. Because most people are not thinking about you at all. They're thinking about themselves. And if you make it easy for them to take advantage of you, if you make it comfortable for them to ignore you, if you make it consequence free to disrespect you, they will do it without even realizing it. Not because they're evil, but because you've given them no reason not to. Machiavelli also wrote about the concept of the lion and the fox. The lion has strength. The fox has cunning. And to survive in a world of competing interests, you need both. You need the strength to stand firm when challenged. And you need the cunning to recognize when you're being manipulated. Most people have neither. They're sheep, grazing peacefully while the wolves circle. And when the wolves strike, the sheep are shocked. They thought the world was safe. They thought everyone was playing by the same rules. But the wolves were never playing. They were hunting, and the sheep made it easy. So what does this mean practically? It means you stop being available to people who treat you as optional. It means you stop tolerating disrespect in the name of keeping the peace. It means you start valuing your time, your energy, and your presence as the limited, precious resources they actually are. And when someone violates that, you don't explode, you don't fight, you don't argue, you simply withdraw, you create distance. You make them feel the absence of what they took for granted, because the most powerful thing you can do in any relationship, whether personal or professional, is make someone realize that access to you is a privilege, not a right. And privileges can be revoked. But here's where most people stumble. They hear this message and they swing too far in the other direction. They become defensive, combative, unnecessarily harsh. They confuse self-respect with ego. They start picking fights over minor slights, burning bridges for no reason, alienating everyone around them in a misguided attempt to prove they're strong. That's not strength. That's insecurity wearing a mask. True self-respect is quiet. It doesn't need to announce itself. It doesn't need to win every argument or have the last word. It simply exists. And it sets boundaries not out of anger, but out of clarity. Because someone who truly respects themselves doesn't need to punish others. They simply choose not to engage with people who don't meet their standards. And that choice, that calm, deliberate choice, is more terrifying to those who would exploit you than any outburst ever could be. The Stoics called this apatheia, which doesn't mean apathy in the modern sense. It means freedom from destructive emotions. It means you no longer react to disrespect with rage or hurt. You observe it, you note it, and you act accordingly. Someone shows you they don't value your time. You stop giving it to them. Someone repeatedly breaks their promises to you. You stop expecting anything from them. Someone speaks to you with contempt. You stop speaking to them at all, not out of pettiness, out of self-preservation, because your peace of mind is worth more than any relationship built on your tolerance of mistreatment. And here's the paradox that will change everything once you understand it. The moment you stop needing people to respect you is the moment they start respecting you. Because need is repulsive. Desperation is repulsive. When you need someone's approval, when you need their validation, when you need them to see your worth, they can smell it. And it makes them pull away. But when you genuinely don't need it, when you're so anchored in your own self, worth that their opinion becomes irrelevant, something shifts. They lean in. They start seeking your approval. They start working to earn your time and attention. Because you've become scarce. And scarcity, in the economy of human interaction, is the ultimate form of value. But there is still one final layer to this, one last piece that completes the puzzle. And it's the piece that most people never discover. Because they give up too soon. Respecting yourself is not a one-time decision. It's not something you do once, and then you're set for life. It's a daily practice. It's a muscle that atrophies if you don't use it. Every single day, you will be tested. Someone will try to guilt you into violating your boundaries. Someone will try to manipulate you into lowering your standards. Someone will make you feel selfish for prioritizing your own well-being. And in those moments, you have a choice. You can fold like you've done 1,000 times before and reinforce the pattern of disrespect. Or you can hold firm. You can disappoint them. You can let them be upset. You can let them call you difficult or cold or selfish. Because their comfort is not your responsibility. Your dignity is. Machiavelli's final lesson, the one that ties everything together, is this: fortune favors the bold. But only if the boldness is backed by preparation. You can't just wake up one day and demand respect if you've spent years training people to walk all over you. They'll laugh at you. They'll dismiss you. They'll wait for you to go back to being the compliant version of yourself they're comfortable with. So you have to be strategic. You have to start small. You start by saying no to the small things, the minor inconveniences, the little requests that you know you'll resent. You practice the discomfort of disappointing people. You practice the guilt that comes with putting yourself first, and over time, it gets easier. The muscle gets stronger, and the people who can't handle the new you, the self-respecting you, they fall away. And that's not a loss, that's a filter. Because anyone who only values you when you're convenient was never actually in your corner to begin with. Your reputation is not built on how nice you are. It's built on how seriously you take yourself. And if you don't take yourself seriously, no one else will either. They'll use you when they need something. They'll forget you when they don't. and you'll spend your entire life wondering why you feel so empty despite doing so much for everyone else. The answer is simple. You gave away pieces of yourself to people who didn't even ask for them. You devalued your own currency, and now you're broke. Emotionally, psychologically, spiritually broke. But it's not too late. It's never too late to reclaim what you've lost. You start now. You start by looking at your life and identifying everywhere you've been tolerating disrespect. Every friend who only calls when they need something. Every family member who guilt trips you into compliance. Every coworker who dumps their work on your desk because they know you won't push back. You make a list, and one by one you address them. Not with confrontation, not with anger, with boundaries. Clear, firm, non-negotiable boundaries. And you watch what happens. Some people will respect them. Those are your people. Some people will push back, test you, try to guilt you into abandoning them. Those are not your people. Let them go, because a life spent managing the feelings of people who don't respect you is not a life. It's a slow death, and you deserve better than that. You deserve to wake up every morning knowing that the people in your life value you. You not because you make yourself small, but because you've made yourself have undeniable. Because you've cultivated something rare in this world, genuine self-respect. And genuine self-respect is magnetic. It attracts the right people and repels the wrong ones. It creates space for real connection, real loyalty, real love. But only if you're willing to lose the fake versions first. This is the choice you have to make. You can keep being the person everyone feels comfortable disrespecting. You can keep telling yourself that you're just being nice, that you're just being mature, that you're just avoiding conflict. And you can keep feeling that gnawing emptiness that comes from living a life where you're everyone's option, but no one's priority. Or you can decide right now that you're done. You're done apologizing for taking up space. You're done accepting crumbs and calling it a feast. You're done waiting for permission to value yourself, because no one is going to give you that permission. It's not their job. It's yours. Machiavelli didn't write about power because he was cruel. He wrote about it because he was realistic. He understood that the world operates on certain principles, and pretending those principles don't exist doesn't make you virtuous. It makes you a victim, and you can choose to be offended by that. You can choose to reject it as too harsh, too dark, too cynical, or you can choose to use it. You can choose to take the uncomfortable truth and turn it into something that transforms your life. Because the truth is, respect is not something you hope for. It's something you command. Not through force, through presence, through the unshakable knowledge that you are worth more than how you've been allowing yourself to be treated. And the moment you truly believe that, the moment it becomes woven into the fabric of who you are, everything changes. People change. Opportunities change. Your entire reality restructures itself around this new version of you. The version that refuses to be treated like nothing. So here's your decision point. You can close this video and go back to the life you've been living, where you shrink and accommodate and hope that someday someone will notice your worth and treat you accordingly. Or you can accept the uncomfortable truth that no one is coming to save you from your own lack of self-respect. No one is going to fight for your dignity harder than you fight for it yourself. And if you won't fight for it, if you won't protect it, if you won't demand it, then you will spend the rest of your life wondering why everyone around you seems to have something you don't. And what they have is simple. They have boundaries. They have standards. They have a line that cannot be crossed without consequence. And because they have that line, people respect them, not out of fear, out of recognition that this person values themselves. And anyone who wants access to them must value them too. You wake up every single day believing that kindness will protect you. But now you know the truth. The world doesn't respect what it can easily step on.